Hello, this is Debra Cohen, a story and a song. Today's podcast is brought to you by Debra Cohen Music and Books. Yes, and I have a new memoir out. It's called Sex, not S-E-X, S-E-C-T-S, Drugs and Rock and Roll. If you're interested in looking at my books, you can go to debracohenbooks.org. And the music is debracohenmusic.com. And don't forget to spell my name correctly. Debra. No H on the end. The H is only on the end of my Hebrew name, Devorah. Okay, so today we're going to talk about Lech Lecha. This Torah portion has been jumping out at me more times than any other parsha besides Naso, which I'll talk about in my memoir section. Is it section they call it? 2. Anyway, part 2, whatever it is. I'm working on that now. But part 1 memoir is out now. But anyway, maybe some of you are feeling like, I need to do something different. I need to go someplace different. I'm not talking about vacation. I'm saying about relocation, which when our God, the God of Israel, spoke first to Abram and said, Lech Lecha, what exactly does that mean in Hebrew? If you're interested, stick around for the next 30-ish minutes, and I'll be right back after this message. If I can find it. Sorry, to put my glasses on again. Okay, here we go. And this is Debra Cohen, and let's dig right into Lech Lecha. To understand the spiritual mechanics of Lech Lecha, which means go for yourself or go to yourself, some Bibles translate it as go to a land that I will show you. But how many of you, including myself, would say, okay, when he didn't tell us where to go, he just said go. So what's involved with that statement if you are not told where to go? I hope you said emuna or bitachon. We have to look at it not as a one-time relocation, but as a perpetual state of being. In Jewish mysticism, specifically Hasidic thought, this command given to Abraham isn't just about moving from Mesopotamia to Canaan or Canaan. It's about the soul's refusal to become stagnant. And that feeling of stagnation is what starts me to looking around at other options, spiritually speaking. So let's talk about this. Go to yourself. The phrase, go to yourself, is grammatically strange in English. Lech means go, and lecha means to you or for you. The Sfat Emet, my favorite rabbi of all times, Hasidic master, teaches that the call is actually a journey inward. The comfort zone, your location, isn't just a GPS coordinate. It's your habits, your ego, and your current level of understanding. The destination, you are going toward your true self, the spark of the divine that can only be found by leaving the version of yourself you've already outgrown. So I think that's refreshing because instead of comparing yourself to other people, which always provokes jealousy, which I don't know why people would be jealous of me at my age, but yeah, people that are half my age feel like they have to compete with me. And I'm like, compete with your grandmother? Seriously? Are you that insecure? Okay. But anyway, what you're doing is really spiritually, you need to be comparing who you were yesterday and try to be a better version of yourself today. Hello, Shaul Baz at IG. We're talking about Lech Lecha. Go to yourself, be a better version of yourself than you were yesterday, so you don't have to compare yourself to other people and get all jealous and whatever, spiteful. So the three departures. The verse specifies three things that you must leave in order to Lech Lecha. Each represents a layer of location that keeps us stuck. So if you're feeling stuck, maybe this might interest you. From your land, me'artzecha, leaving your physical environment and external social pressures. Maybe some of you are feeling the pressure today and you're thinking, where else can I be living? Number 2, or go from your birthplace, moladtecha, leaving your biological temperament. The I was just born this way excuse. Maybe somebody's told you when you try to help them to be a better version of their self, which doesn't work unless they ask you for advice, they're just going to get defensive and say, I was born that way. How many of you have heard that before? Put it in the chat if you think you've heard it before. Or 3, go from your father's house, mi beit avicha, leaving your nurtured belief systems and the intellectual boxes others have built for you, which I've done many times, thus the title of my book, Sex, S-E-C-T-S, leaving Catholicism, which is what I did pre-Vatican II, and started looking into Pentecostalism and the Baha'i faith and Christian Science and Baptists and whatever else there is out there, and Islam and Judaism. Okay, so why you can't stay put? For those wanderers, like a wandering Jew I am, why can't you stay put? For the seeker, staying in one location is spiritually equivalent to settling. The Torah describes the journey of the Israelites in the desert as a series of 42 journeys. They would camp, then the cloud of glory would lift, and they had to move. If you feel a holy restlessness, it is because your soul has gathered the sparks, and this idea comes from Rabbi Isaac Luria, in your current location. So maybe you're feeling like I've gathered up as many sparks from others that I possibly can, and you're starting to feel stale. Well, once you have learned what you needed to learn and helped who you needed to help in that place, the light where there is exhausted for you. To stay would be to wither. The paradox. You aren't wandering because you're lost. You are moving because you are being summoned to a higher version of home that doesn't exist in a fixed place. Put that in the chat if you're feeling restless. And are you restless physically, emotionally, mentally, or spiritually? Or a combination of several or all? Next time you feel the urge to move, whether it's a career change, a new city, or a shift in your practice, ask yourself, is this move a flight, running away from a shadow? Or is this a Lech Lecha, running toward a new and truer version of your and my soul? A version of your soul. This requires deep, quiet silence with your soul to determine if your soul is fed or starving. Or dead, like a dead battery in a car. It might roll down the road, but it doesn't have any power or spirit on its own. Okay, all right. So I like digging in. Let's look at a story. It perfectly captures that nagging feeling that your home is somewhere you haven't arrived at yet. The story of Isaac, son of Yechel. There was once a poor man in Krakow named Isaac who dreamed 3 times that there was a treasure buried under a specific bridge in Prague. Driven by the Lech Lecha urge, he left his home and traveled many miles to find it. When he arrived, the bridge was guarded by soldiers. The captain of the guard, seeing Isaac lingering, asked what he was looking for. Isaac, being an honest soul, told him about the dream. The captain laughed. "You poor fool. If I believed in dreams, I'd be in Krakow right now, digging under the stove of a man named Isaac, son of Yekel." Isaac bowed, traveled all the way back home, moved his stove, and found the treasure. The lesson for the seeker, that may be you, that is me. The treasure is indeed at home, but within your own soul. But you cannot find it until you take the journey away from home. The movement, the wandering, and the seeking are what give you the eyes to see the treasure that was sitting under your stove the whole time. So let's have a Lech Lecha reflection. And if you don't know what Lech Lecha is because you checked in here later, it's a section in the Torah. It's called Lech Lecha. Go to yourself, or some Christians translate it as go to God talking to Abraham. Go to a place that I will show you. In other words, go first and then I'll show you. How many of you would, that would be like getting your Waze app out and it's Waze is asking you, where do you want to go? And you're like, I don't know. Just go. Takes faith, doesn't it? You have to have some kind of an unction inside, like if you're attracted to a certain location every time it's mentioned. Or maybe you're Jewish and you're thinking, God says he's going to gather all of his children from the 4 corners of the earth. So are you getting that feeling like, I need to go. I need to go home. Hamakom. If you're feeling the pull to move right now, whether physically or spiritually, try this internal inventory to see where the cloud of glory is leading you. 1, identify the land if we're talking about physical. What about your current environment feels heavy or stagnant? Is your physical space supporting your growth? Or is it a monument to who you used to be? Think about that for a minute. Are you living in an area of this world where you are allowed to grow and become more than you are today? In my parents' generation, it was more like not opportunities to grow, but to just be happy with the family, friends, and leave it to Beaver. Or the Jetsons, whatever your choice is, or the Flintstones. But it was pretty much expected for the man, at least, once you had a job, you're supposed to keep it for life. But in this generation, that's not necessarily so. I have changed my careers many times, and I'm still looking for a better version of myself now by studying to become a Tai Chi teacher, which suits my age in my 7th decade of living, doing something that my body needs, and I can help others in the process. Okay, another kind of guided reflection would be identify the birthplace. Emotional, we're talking about emotional transformation, emotional disturbance inside. Or what emotional habits are you born into? For example, I'm just a person who gets anxious, or I'm not a spiritual person. I don't know how many times I've heard that when going to sing places, sing praise and worship, and I mention, opening up your soul to receive spiritual food or for spiritual hunger. And I get these like usually older folks my age or older that say, I'm not spiritual. And, they act like I'm a weirdo because I'm spiritual. Okay. Lech Lecha, I ask you to leave those labels at the border. Number 3, because, when you label yourself and say, I'm this and you're that, well, it creates division. But we need to get together regardless of how different we are. We're not trying to be like each other, hopefully not. We're trying to be a better version of who we were yesterday, not comparing ourselves to anybody else. You might be inspired by somebody else, but you will find your own road as you trust in God and pursue the gifts that He has given only you. Only you. It's like a big puzzle, and each one of us, have special divine gifts that we need to discover, and that is supposed to be the reason for school. The school or teachers are supposed to help you discover who you are meant to be. And unfortunately, a lot of them don't. They have you study the same curriculum, and it's like, what is it, Ford factory? They spit out one car after another, the same, except for maybe a different color. Okay. So there's also the intellectual change or transition, identifying the Father's house. What certainties do you hold that aren't actually yours, but were given to you by teachers? Funny, I didn't read this ahead of time, so I just happened to mention it before I read this. Parents, your parents want you to be like my mother always wanted me to be a nurse because she wanted me to marry a rich doctor. She said, that is happiness. Yes, I agree now that I've rebelled and chose a poor husband. It's kind of hard, like the song is gone. Anyway, so your next step in your homework assignment, if you're still listening here, the Lech Lecha energy is often strongest during transitions. Since you're in the seeker headspace, this is, let's see, we can either talk about the traveler's prayer or the 42 journeys. Let's talk about the anatomy of a soul's journey with the 42 pit stops that the Israelites made in the wilderness. The 42 journeys represent the process of moving from Mitzrayim, which the Hebrew word for Egypt, and the Holy Land, to Eretz Yisrael, expansiveness. So the initial break, the first journey is always leaving the narrow place. This is the moment you realize your current location, mental or physical, can no longer contain your soul. It's painful, but it's the only way to breathe. I've been in that situation more than once. And sometimes because of peer pressure, you think there's something wrong with you because you can't be happy like everybody else seems to be. But if you have any kind of a relationship with God, no matter who you think God is, it might be that you're getting the call to grow. Go, Lech Lecha, to a place that I will show you, either mentally, physically, spiritually, or emotionally. But you have to have some kind of a relationship with God in order to go to the right place. Hello, Nikki Watts Music on IG. Thank you for listening. We're almost at the end of the segment, but you can hear the replay, which will be found in the archives on my YouTube channel. The handle is at Debra Cohen Music. No, that's wrong. That's my music. Sorry. I wear many hats. The handle on YouTube is at Jewish Rock Music. Sorry about that. All right, we're going to wrap this up because we've only got like 8-ish minutes. And tell us in the chat box, where are you listening from? Okay, we're talking about the 42 stops in the Torah that talks about the Israelites coming out of Egypt. And there were 42 different stops they made in the 40 years they were in the desert. So many of the 42 stops were just places to set up camp. Spiritually, these are the plateaus. You aren't arriving yet, but you are integrating what you learned on the road. The seeker's mistake is thinking the plateau is the destination. I keep hoping it is because, it seems like I move every 3 years. And every time I get to the next place, I think, this is it. Where I am now. Clearwater, Florida. This is it. Great weather, great synagogue, great people. Just great place to live. But, okay. The seeker's mistake is thinking the plateau is the destination. When the cloud moves, you and I must move, even if you just got comfortable. How many can relate to that? Can I get an amen? Okay. Some stops on your journey will feel bitter or disappointing. I've also experienced that, moving to what I thought was the place, only to get there and find out it wasn't the place. All right. In the Torah, the Israelites complained at Marah because the water was undrinkable. Oops. Moses was told to throw a bitter tree into the water to make it sweet. Okay. So the teaching sometimes to sweeten a difficult situation, you have to lean into the bitterness, understand it, and transform it from within. Mapping the 42 journeys to the body. In Kabbalah, these journeys are often mapped to the Sephirot. Now, this is for these high-level intellects that study the Sephirot in Chassidus or Chabad or Tanya, where this kind of teaching would be understandable. If it's not to you, just listen and maybe some seeds will be planted for you to research later. These are divine attributes, the Sephirot. As you move through life, you are essentially climbing the tree of life, moving from the physical world up toward higher consciousness or the Ein Sof. So let's end with the traveler's prayer. For the spiritual seeker, maybe you who are listening are a spiritual seeker like me. Since Lech Lecha keeps you from staying in one place, you need a prayer that honors the process rather than the arrival. Here is a modern adaptation of the Tefillat Haderech, the Wayfarer's Prayer, for someone whose heart is always on the move. Pray this with me. Would you please just listen and take on the posture of meditation? May it be your will, source of all being, that you lead us toward peace and direct our steps toward truth. May you, God, rescue us from the narrow places of our own making and from the stagnation that calls itself comfort. Bless the work of our hands and the wanderings of our feet. Let us find sparks of holiness in every city we enter, in every book we open, and in every soul we encounter. Grant us the courage to leave when the cloud lifts, and the patience to rest when the cloud settles. For the journey itself is the Holy Land. Think about that. The journey is your destination and mine. How is your journey going? Are you feeling content in your journey, or are you feeling restless? Are you feeling contentment, or are you feeling you're in the narrow places, feeling the squeeze of life, feeling like you're in the valley of the shadow of death? But God has a plan for you and me. He gave each one of us divine gifts to make this world a better place. Tikkun olam. Our job here is to make the world a better place and to love one another. The golden rule. I hope this teaching has been helpful as I myself seek the place that God is calling me to go. And that's what my music is about. In the destination, which is the journey of writing about the experiences I feel, even though I might think it's the last stop, but God knows it's not. As long as you have the heart of a seeker, there will always be someplace else to go, whether it's physically, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. So I'd like to share with you a song that I just wrote, Neuro Spicy, because in this place of comfort that I'm in, I've unfortunately found other women who don't compare themselves to who they were yesterday to be a better version of themselves. Instead, they put me down with their words. I don't really know why. It's maybe because they don't understand me, being neurodivergent, or they who knows? Like when I was in my 20s in a rock band in Boston, I would not speak to anybody that was 30 or over because I thought they were square. That was the term in the 80s. And so maybe these women who are younger than me think I'm square, and that's why they have to keep giving me digs and, just barbs, verbal things, saying things that are, you could take them either way, but the tone, or if you have discerning of spirit, they're comparing themselves to me and they don't like something about me. And I'm like, all right, get out the t-shirt. You be you and me be me. Let's all be happy in the place God has us. And if you don't like it, don't be hateful to other people. Do something about yourself. Lech Lecha. All right.
I open doors with trembling hands, just hoping to belong. My whispers cut like sharpened glass when I don't fit your song. You call me strange, you call me soft, as if there's something wrong. I walk with my heart on my sleeve with a message of love. Still I bleed when my kindness is twisted